double. This is All Wrestling Talk Nation. Doing it a little differently, so if you see the commentary before, first of all, I'm sorry for wearing a wife beater. It is my style, though. Second of all, I have to say, this is a beautiful day, so we're going to enjoy it. I want to thank my boy CM Stylezz for helping us out. We are under a different format, so thank you, buddy. Appreciate you helping me out with the XSplit and Ustream. Big thanks to you guys for giving us the opportunity to program and put out our product here. So we're trying to change it from Google Hangouts. So want to thank CM from Destroying Kayfabe. Check us out on Tuesdays. We'll be doing our Raw reviews again and start up and kind of give our takes. You heard earlier today about us and our takes about Ring of Honor going to Destination America. We'll do more talks about that later on tonight, maybe today too. But I want to thank my special guest. First of all, I want to also say big ups to Kayfabe Concepts. Paul Jazer, our boy who made the banner, as you see, All Wrestle Talk Nation, with our guest Clyde Braddock, did a shirt of Mr. AJ Styles, posted on Twitter, and AJ Styles replied how he liked the shirt, and we tweeted it. So give it up to our boy Paul. You know, hopefully something can come out of that. So big ups to you, buddy. Loving what you're doing. Keep it up. Like I said, we're going to be posting this on our page, our group, All Wrestle Talk, allwrestletalknation.webs.com. You want to go there. That's going to be where you're going to get all the inside skinny of the show. You'll also go to our page. You'll see our people that have been on the show. You can click the link, watch them, check them out on their Facebook, try to book them. Want to thank special Indy Superstar Spotlights guest, Clyde Braddock. How you doing there, Kyle? Or Clyde?
It is. Yeah, I was about to say it is Clyde Braddock. But, yes, I'm doing quite well. How about yourself, sir?
I apologize. I'll super kick myself later for that. But, yes, I'm glad to hear you're doing well on that, man.
Do it.
Hey, man, look, I'm very flexible. I'll do it in the video game. You'll watch. So, man.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you can super kick yourself, I would pay to see that.
Dude, if you have a prosthetic leg, I will do it. It won't take me but a heartbeat. But see, people don't realize you can do that kind of stuff. All right. Also, CM Stylezz, thank you for being a part of the show, man. How you doing?
Yeah.
AKA Switchboard
I'm
Operator.
doing good. It's an honor to be here, you know. It's a real big honor. Last week I did this week I'm back. It's great to be back on the team. It's great to have the team all together, rocking and socking, baby.
Yep, just don't pop your head off like you did last time. All right, so with that being said, all right, Clyde, I'm sorry. I see it and I want to say Kyle, but I know it's Clyde. So, Clyde, what brought you into the business? What was it? What was the one thing that, you said to yourself, I wanted to be a wrestler? What got you into this wonderful business?
Well, I actually had it down to the date, and I got it written down somewhere. But I remember it was WCW. It was like Saturday morning because I only had 3 channels, so I got the crap on Saturday morning. But I remember watching it and seeing Big Van Vader just go out there and really, really squash this guy in a shiny jacket. And, after that, I was hooked, man. I knew that that's what I wanted to do. Big Van Vader, he's always been I've always really liked him, just from how physical he was and how, even though he was a big man, he was, somewhat acrobatic. I know his moonsault is not the best in the world, but hey, he's like 700 pounds. Not really, but I mean, he's a good 380, 400. So, but yeah, it was it was in 1995. I do remember that.
Wow.
I think it was in August or something like that. And I just remember we're flipping through the 3 channels that we had, and I seen him hit the Vader bomb on somebody, and I was like, "Whoa!" And my dad was like, "Do you like that?" And I said, "Yeah." And then, a couple of weeks later, they were in Macon, Georgia, and I went to see my first live event, and I was just hooked from then on out. Following it, being a huge fan of it, wrestling throughout high school. That was and Kurt Angle has always been one of my favorites as well because of the background that he came from. He's been, an Olympic champion, gold medalist in the 1996 Olympics, and then he transformed into a professional wrestler. And I didn't end up going to college for wrestling. And even though I had offers, I tore up my knee my senior year. But professional wrestling is the reason that I wanted to wrestle at a college level anyway. So, it's always been a huge part of my life. I know I kind of got off a little bit on that.
No. It's good. What? Well, no, it's good. I like that because, see, first of all, a lot of people need to understand, back in the day, there were 3 channels. And, yes, on Saturday morning was always the best day to watch wrestling. You had the showcase show where you got to watch at least 2 hours. And then they went to some, National Geographic's mess. And then at 6:05, they come back, TBS. You watch about a couple of hours. And then on channel 69, if you're lucky, WUPA back in the day, man, you got Joe Pisaro, Bonnie Blackstone, and yes, I still remember their names. And you got to watch 7 hours of wrestling, including the Puerto Rican wrestling at 3 o'clock in the morning where my dad about cussed me out. But anyway, I remember those Saturday nights very well. So, yes, it's nice to know when someone can remember those wrestlings back in the day. So, CM, you have a question for him?
Well, I guess we could say Vader was basically one of your inspirations coming into the wrestling business. Is there anybody else besides him that, would have been a big inspiration for you to want to become a professional wrestler?
Well, of course, being from that era, not so much now, but when I first started, it was Hulk Hogan. I always was a giant fan of Hulk Hogan when I was growing up. And later on, I'm more of Macho Man Randy Savage. Just because, once you get older and get into the business, you start appreciating people's work a lot more. I appreciate Hogan for what he was. I mean, he was an entertainer. But, Macho Man was an all-around athlete. I mean, he played minor league ball before he ever came to the WWE, or WWF at the time, which is what I prefer. But, we can't all have what we always want. But let's see. I would have to say Hulk Hogan. I'm big on Yokozuna. I love big men wrestlers. I mean, I'm not the tallest in the world or the biggest, but I love big wrestlers just because I like the big cat Ernie Ladd just because of how he was. He said probably one of the best things that I've ever heard him say, or heard anyone say, as a matter of fact, about wrestling. He was like, well, people love to call me the N-word when I was out there wrestling, and I love for them to pay that money to call me the N-word while I was wrestling. And that just, and he told stories about going to wrestle with Dusty Rhodes, and then they wasn't going to pay him, so he left, and people rioted. I mean, just guys like that, guys, older generations of wrestling, just because of what they had to deal with. We don't have to deal with riots or anything like that anymore. But I mean, you look at Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson got cut with a freaking box cutter by a fan. I mean, stuff like that. We don't have to worry about that anymore. I wish we did, honestly. But I mean, it's just a different time in the sport. But yeah, I have a lot that I could go over, but we could say that.
Well, I mean, don't feel like you have to hold back. I mean, dude, this is all Wrestle Talk. It's Superstar Spotlight, and we're wanting to shine the, what was your, determination to get into the ring? What was your journey like? And the past is part of it. I lost everybody now. Please wait as we redo this call again, and it will happen very soon. Because I don't understand what happened. Call the phone. Live TV, you gotta love it.
Brief intermission.
Brian, start dancing in front of the camera. Never mind, don't do that, Brian. Last time, no, last time it got real ugly.
I can do the striptease.
Like I said, it got real ugly. Real
Because
ugly.
that one woman complained. I mean, come on.
I don't care. It got real ugly.
Clyde Alexander, Otis Terrell Ross, most people know him as Trevor Aeon, and Saba Ajicic, which most people know him as Spiral.
All right. Real quick, I didn't get that because for some reason Skype decided to be a butt and say no more of you. So let's replay the question, and I was hearing some of your answers. So.
Oh, okay. I was asking about life on the road.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, but we're traveling with all those guys. Over an amount of time, you get to know a lot more about people than you care to know. Sometimes.
I wouldn't know what you're talking about there.
Do what now?
I wouldn't know what you're talking about there.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus. But just from like, after the match settles and we all kind of calm down, just crazy shenanigans that happened there. Like, okay, just for one, this happened when I was traveling with the Underground a lot, which we still run. We just kind of all went our separate ways because we got our blessing from our trainer, Micah Taylor, to start going our separate ways and getting our own bookings, which we all are doing. But let's see. Okay, we were in McDonough, Georgia, and Steven Stylezz, he's also part of the tag team that I run with. Every now and then is the Sevenfold Saints. But we were riding to McDonough, and we had already picked up Howard Alexander and Spiral. And I was looking under Steven's seat, and I was like, what the hell is this? And I pulled it out, and it was this bag, and I said, oh man, geez, I wonder what's in this bag. And I opened it up, and it was a bunch of luchador masks. And I was like, sir, I don't know why you have this in your car, but we're using them. And I was Mr. Berserko for the better part of the day, doing Chinese fire drills in traffic, yelling at people cutting grass, and it was a wild day. And that was with no alcohol or drugs involved. So keep it clean, young peoples.
Look. To have fun with wrestling mask is a whole nother story. I'm down with that because it's just hilarious. You become, first of all, they're just hilarious, and the looks you get from people, I must imagine, are quite priceless.
Oh yeah, just walking into a McDonald's, ordering food, and in a wrestling mask, or getting the other people to order you food because they're like, "Are you ordering for him?" No, yeah, he doesn't talk. Yeah, he doesn't talk. And then wear it throughout the whole town and tell people this amazing story. It's a lot of fun.
Seeing whose story is more tragic and yet hilarious as you go.
Yeah, definitely. Just be like, I traveled here from Mexico. Well, you don't have an accent at all. I traveled here a long time ago from Mexico.
I came from Puerto Rico. But you don't sound Puerto Rican. Why do I have to sound Puerto Rican? That's racist.
Yeah. And, but, I do love wrestlers with masks or hoods or whatever you want to call it. The politically correct term.
Yeah.
Whatever term you want to use. I'm big on that just because with me, you can see all of my emotion on my face.
Yeah.
And you can tell, like, if something's hurting, if something's not going the way that I want to, whatever. But with mask wrestlers, you don't have that. You have a mask, and you have to use your body and use you're selling and everything else to make people realize that you're in pain or you're about to do something funny or such whatever. I do have a big respect for guys that wear masks. I got to meet Mr. Wrestling number 2 on the road. That was cool.
Oh man.
And he is old. He is old.
Oh yeah. Now is he still performing? That's the question. Because
yeah.
Whoa.
No, he wasn't performing. He was just there doing autograph signings and stuff.
Yeah, I was about to say because he's impressive. Back in Georgia wrestling back in the day, that was the man that around town was him, and just great memories. Got a question for you, and I wanted to ask you, what is the biggest challenge for you? Was it the training part? Was it just kind of getting used to work in front of people? Because you have your guys that are more introverts. Then they keep to themselves. Extroverts like to be out there, have fun. Full throttle. Was it hard for you to stick to, man, gotta kind of push through this?
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't hard for me, because I've always been a natural athlete. I've always just picked up on everything right when it was given to me. But the hardest part, I think, would have to be just making it, just making ends meet and traveling the roads. If you don't have like with me, I don't really have a trade. I didn't. After my scholarship got taken away, I didn't really go to college just because I didn't have the money. And working different jobs here and there to make ends meet and traveling the roads, and people don't see that side of it. People don't see the side that, this Micah Taylor, my trainer, put it to me best when Deep South was running in McDonough. One of the guys that was there, I'm not going to say any names, just for for whatever's sake.
No problem.
But one of the guys was cleaning at a Chili's. He was cleaning up, that was his job. He did cleaning at night, and it just so happened that Deep South Wrestling was on the TV, and he was wrestling, and somebody noticed who he was and was like, why are you doing this? Why are you mopping floors? And people don't see that side of it. People don't see the side of guys who have to struggle, bust their ass, not just to wrestle and maintain physique and maintain appearances and all that stuff, but the side of having to work those jobs that you don't want to make ends meet, to be able to travel on the weekends and having to do this and to do that. And that's the hardest part. If you really want to do this, it's just like I was telling some greenhorn last week, because he was bitching and moaning about training and it being hard and all this stuff, and how he was having to worry about paying for training, and I stepped in automatically, me being one of the younger guys in the locker rooms, only being in it for about 3.5 years. But I stepped in and was like, look, man, we've all got a story of how we got here. And to be honest with you, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear how hard you work, because we've all done it. I mean, I myself, when I was training, I was working 3 different jobs. I was working at Dairy Queen in the morning and a freaking GameStop from 1 to 5, traveling to Macon to McDonough, which is about an hour drive, maybe a little bit more if traffic is bad. Travel there, wrestle, because I started out training with Bill DeMont at New Energy Pro Wrestling.
All right.
After Mid-South had stopped and all that, but yeah, I was working at GameStop from 1 to 5 after I got done at Dairy Queen. Then I would go to McDonough, train my ass off to where I thought I was going to die, and then come back home to be on time to work my security job at night that I was doing. And I was doing that just to pay for training and just to make ends meet. So that's the big thing that a lot of people don't understand is how much time and effort has to go into it. Because if you can be like everybody, everybody say, I want to be a professional wrestler and wrestle, once every month or twice every month. But like with me, I'm wrestling every single weekend, usually twice per weekend, and traveling, Florida, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, Mississippi, wherever I could get booked. That's probably the hardest part of it to me, is having to bust your ass, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
I got you. Sam, you got something, man?
Yeah, I know you're talking about, these guys that are, and including you, that do employee work outside of the business. When it comes to like cleaning up, putting things together, what's it like paying your dues?
Oh man, it's the best, and not a lot of guys like with me. A lot of guys are like, this sucks, all this, paying your dues, not getting paid a whole lot to go anywhere and all that, but it's all worth it. If it's what you want to do, then you take pride in what you do. Like even now, I'm not above setting up a ring. I'm not above, help setting up chairs, guardrails, or anything like that. And just because you never forget where you came from. And every wrestler, no matter who they are, has once been a greenhorn and had to pay their dues. And, some guys bash them and do all different kind of stuff, but I don't, just because I know that I was once there. If I see somebody who's a complete idiot, who just like, I want to be a professional wrestler, then I don't take as much time with them and try to help them and give them my experiences. But if I see somebody who's working hard like I did, doesn't mind doing, setting up rings and taking down rings and driving, all halfway across the world, it seems like, for no money, and, just to get your name out there, then yeah, I'm going to help them out. But, I enjoyed paying my dues because I knew that I was working towards something.
I gotta say, that's probably the first time I heard somebody say they look forward to paying dues. But it's a good thing to hear that. It's very refreshing. Got a question for you in this regard. I don't know how familiar you are. You obviously, everyone knows YouTube. They know, video clips that get thrown out there. There's been one about a veteran a greenhorn basically pissing off a vet. And the old saying is, you never piss a vet off. Well, we saw it many a times. It shocks you, but then it makes you go, well, that's why you don't piss off a vet. So for you, I'm not saying have you ever had that happen, but, being a part of the business, being in different, arenas, working with different folks, you probably have seen those guys that don't take it seriously and the ones that are taking it. How hard is it to fight it, to not just tear into it?
Well, it's for me. I'm kind of outspoken when it comes to that kind of stuff. Because I've watched veterans just sit there while somebody's disrespecting the business and doing all this, and if you've been in the wrestling business long enough, then you can tell when somebody is not interested in your shit at all. And I'll go up and say, look man, nobody wants to hear it. Go sit down. Go do something. Go get some tape. Go do something. But I have seen veterans light up some green guys. And with us, it wasn't. With us at the underground, which is I take very much pride in coming from there because I mean, not saying anybody else's way is wrong, but I know that we were trained the right way because any of the guys that were any kind of names that I've met with or worked with, they say that I know what the hell I'm doing. So I take pride in coming from that school. But if we disrespected a veteran or we did something wrong that wasn't up to our trainer standards, then he would make us bust our ass for not just a day, for a whole week. Like he would try to make you quit coming up there, and it teaches you respect very quickly. So, but I mean, if I see a guy that's not doing right, that's gonna, I'm gonna take the veteran side. Whether, I mean, there is a right and a wrong, and if something is totally wrong, then I'm just gonna sit back and relax and let the vet get out what he needs to get out and all that. Because there have been some instances where it was. We'll talk about that off camera because I cannot say his name at all because I have much respect for him. But it was very funny. But it did involve Corey Chavis, who was one of the members of the Dark City Fight Club, who were world champions at Ring of Honor. Him and John Davis. And but yeah, it was a thing of where I was there. I watched him go up and shake the guy's hand, and then I guess he forgot that he had shook his hand, and then he came at the end, was telling everybody bye, and he went to go shake his hand, and he said, he was like, "You didn't shake my hand when you came in here, so you ain't gonna get to shake my hand now." And Corey was just like, "Dude, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Excuse my language, but he's like, I don't know what you are talking about, man. Like I came up to you and everybody else seen it, but everybody else was quiet because you let the vet get out what he needs to get out. He's old. He's old." And I mean, I got it, but then I was like, Jesus Christ, man. I was, but that was probably one of the funnier stories that I've had with vets. Some of them are not very funny at all. I did watch these two people argue like hell with AJ Steele. Y'all probably know AJ Steele.
Oh, you don't do that. Don't argue with him. Give me a drink.
No, yeah, don't argue with AJ.
No,
I mean, Jesus Christ.
I mean, he does have a reputation of being the softest guy in the world.
Yeah. I mean,
and I'm being sarcastic.
Right? He's the. Do what? I didn't hear that last part.
He's best. That's sarcasm, people. If you can't pick that up, because he's intense. I've seen him.
And he's a freaking house too. And these guys were arguing with him, and I see Terry Lawler. Terry Lawler was just sitting there. He sat there, and he sat there, and he sat there, and then when they walked out of the room, he was like, the guy happened to be my tag team partner at the time. He was like, he looked at me and he said, "Hey man, is that your tag team partner?" And I said, yeah, it is. He said, "Good luck getting booked anywhere." And I said, "All right, well, it's time to change tag team partners and go out on my own." So, but,
sorry, dude, you just got kicked to the curb.
Yeah, sorry, man, but I mean, he was right though. It was totally unnecessary, and there was alcohol involved, and some of the stuff you have to put up with on indie wrestling.
Man, well, CM, do you have anything to ask?
Oh man, let me check. I could probably ask a few more here before I run out. Dream match. Who would you want to face, either dead, alive, wrestling, or retired?
Oh man, it would have to be it'd have to be Macho Man. Jesus, I would wrestle for 8 days with that man.
Iron Man style. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, 8-day Iron Man.
No Pete Bricks there.
But yeah, there's a couple.
The match would still end up a draw.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'd have to go another 8 days just to.
Or 2 more days. Yeah, the
But
equivalent of 5 minutes.
there's a couple though, man. Do what?
No, it's like the equivalent of 5 minutes afterwards. 5 more minutes.
Yeah. I love it, man. But let's see. Andre would have to be one just because he was one of the, he was larger than life. And, it would be just an honor just to meet him now. I mean, he's passed away, but it would be an honor just to meet him. But probably one of the current stars that I would love to have a match with is Samoa Joe. I really like Samoa Joe, and I like his style. Just, I think that we would gel well together. And let's see. I'd probably have to say Cesaro, just because I really like Cesaro, man. His freaking European uppercuts are probably the best in the business. I'm not gonna say probably. I'm gonna say they are the best in the business. That one where he pops them up and then hits the European uppercut. I mean, that's just insane. And I think we would have great chemistry in the ring.
Well, I gotta say, Cesaro, Samoa Joe, just phenomenal guys. I would love to see that match anytime. Let's talk about Stylezz. I know you got. I know you have to go on another show, and I appreciate your time with us. But if you're, you could wrestle any promotion, and you could go anywhere, Japan, wherever. Keep your gimmick the same. Money's not the object. Where would you want to go? Where would you want to make the mark for yourself?
Japan. Japan is somewhere that I've always wanted to go. Just because of the strong style there. That's how I was trained with Micah Taylor. To work matches is strong style. It's I'm not one of those guys that, because there's different guys in wrestling. There's entertainers that do stuff for the hey, the ho, the hi, the who, and then there's the guys who you have that suspicion of like, wow, is he really pissed off at this guy because he's beating the crap out of him? That's the type that I like to be, just because it brings realism to our sport. And I do say sport just because I appreciate the sport side of it more than the entertainment side. Even though this became more about the entertainment, I'm still very big on the sport side of it. Because I mean, if you watch guys like Jack Briscoe, or some Antonio Inoki is another one from Japan that did really well. If you watch them, man, they are really going at it out there. They were beating the crap out of each other, and there wasn't no spot calling from a mile away and all that stuff, just because the fans were right there. The fans were at the ring. So, I mean, and those guys still were really, really good, and they were very, very popular. And, I mean, like Jack Briscoe, I think he's a three-time national champ or something like that. It's unreal. And he went from that to professional wrestling at a time when that's what you did after you finished college wrestling, is you went to professional wrestling. And I believe that there should be more guys like that, just because whether anyone wants to admit it or not, we are competing with UFC. With mixed martial arts. I mean, that's the next thing. That's the thing that we're competing against. So why not bring some realism back to it? Why not, hit a guy with a forearm and everybody in the crowd, oh, geez, what the hell is he mad about? You know, I mean, that's what I like.
I got to what was I spoke with somebody about how the diversity between the North, the South, and one of the guys says when you go up north of the Mason-Dixon line, it becomes a spot match. If you come more to the Southern, it's more of the storyline, the telling the story in a match. So I guess for me, you just talked about being real, and I've always said in wrestling, everybody can't be MMA. Everybody can't, you can't bring that because that's what MMA has done. They have tagged that's just something unto themselves. You can bring that, diversity where you could do like the tap out moves, you could do submissions and stiff shots. My question to you is, you're talking about, when I hear you talk about the old school way of wrestling, being stiff, being strong armed. What is it that you would love to see more of in this business? Because you do have guys, it's like each person has a story to tell. You got your high flyers, you got your, the guys that want to go, the technicians, the submissions. What about you?
Well, I'm all about, like, with it being entertainment, I'm all about having a show that has everything.
All right.
That brings it all together really nice because, even though it's not my style, like the high flying or the spots or hardcore, death match, whatever, it's not my style, but I still have a respect for it. Just because it's all part of this crazy wrestling world. I mean, so why not have a show that has all of that brings all of that to the table? Which is kind of where ECW. I'm a big fan of ECW because not even for the hardcore wrestling. Do what now?
No, I'm agreeing with you. I remember ECW. That was some good stuff back then.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, you had great interviews. You had great, like, with the cruiserweights and Dean Malenko. And, you had Too Cold Scorpio there. I mean, and they were putting on hella matches, man. And then you had all that, Chris Benoit, guys like that. You had all that, and then you had the hardcore style of wrestling. And for them two to even be on the same show, people were like, oh, well, that's crazy. But you know what? It freaking worked. And it brought them to a national TV deal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why not have everything at one wrestling show? You have those core matches, and then you have the cruiserweights or the high flyers or whatever, and you have guys that go out there and work hard, work stiff, and that's talking about Big Van Vader. I know y'all asked if that was one of my influences, but he is in the fact of how rough he was with everybody. I mean, he was just brutal. Those forearms are like freaking hams being thrown at you.
Ain't lying about that.
Yeah, I mean, just in watching matches like the one where him and Cactus Jack went at it and he broke Cactus Jack's nose, like you could hear it breaking on TV, and how hard they were hitting each other. Well, it's kind of hard for people to say what you do is fake whenever that's happening, And
a man's ears on
personally, like I said, yeah, his ear, good Jesus, lost an ear, professional wrestling.
What?
But I mean, if you have it all on the same show and bring it together, you'll have one of the best shows you've ever seen.
Yeah. What for you? We talked about 5 years from now. We everybody wants to have the dream of being in the big show, and I get that. What I'm wondering is also not just that. Whatever promotion you want to be in, that'd be awesome. But what is it that you want to see the indie wrestling scene, the stages that you're in now? What would you like to see how it would grow 5 years from now?
Well, personally, they do it in Alabama, and they do it in some other states as well. But I would love to see where, even if it's it's all kind of a work to begin with, but I'd like to see every wrestler, every promotion, whatever, have to be licensed. You have to be licensed to wrestle, and I feel like that would kind of weed out the ones that don't need to be there. It would weed out some of them, and then I would love for, honestly, man, I don't like people being against each other. This is a business, and if you run it like a business and you try to bring people together, bring organizations together, do cross promoting, do this, do that. If you bring it all together and you have this one bigger mega company that goes around to different states and tours, and kind of like WWE, but a little bit different. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And if you had that, then I feel like it would bring some competition to the WWE because, of course I love TNA, Ring of Honor, and New Japan and stuff like that, but they're not bringing any competition to WWE. The WWE needs competition for our business to survive.
Yeah.
And but I would just honestly like to see better shows, better talent, and honestly, better pay for the guys who are having to travel, bust their ass, and guys who really want to do it. I mean, and I understand how it works. Like, you don't want to pay me such and such because you can get 2 or 3 guys for that same price. But guess what? They're not going to do half the job. Those 2 or 3 guys are not going to do half the job that I can do in a wrestling ring. Because I can go anywhere. I honestly believe in my heart and in my mind, and I've proven it wherever I've went, that whether it be babyface, heel, whatever you want me to do, I'll go out there and I'll have the crowd on my side in the end.
Oh yeah. Sam, what you got, buddy?
Oh man, you pretty much asked most of the questions I was going to. What are your thoughts on today's wrestling compared to wrestling of the past?
Okay.
Because the work style has changed a whole lot. The rules have also changed as well. It's become a much more safe but yet dangerous sport with high flyers and more powerful wrestlers and this and that.
Well, I would like to. I mean, honestly, the show, like guys back then, they were doing it to preserve their bodies. I get it. They were doing it to preserve their bodies because they were wrestling 8 nights a week, and I mean, they were twice on Sunday. So, I mean, those guys were having to work that way just to preserve their bodies. I mean, you have guys that do that now, but I mean, the athlete was a lot larger back then. I feel like some of those guys were huge, and they were having to travel all around, from town to town. One of the biggest ones that not a whole lot of people say for traveling, any that I've heard, is Ric Flair. Ric Flair, man, is the freaking king at traveling. There will not be another one like Ric Flair, just because of what he could do, where he could go, and he could go sell out a crowd, wrestle for an hour, go party all night, and do it all over again the next day. And wrestlers aren't built like they used to be. And a lot of that is because of where it's went. It's went to more PG and stuff like that. But it's still wrestling. Like the marquee says wrestling, so it's going to be tough. And I've heard guys come in the back and go, "Oh, that was a little stiff" or whatever, and I say, BS to you. Like, who cares if it's stiff? It gave the people their money's worth. So honestly, all the flying stuff, yes, it's amazing. But if you want any career later on down the line, like there are exceptions. There are exceptions to the rule, and I'm not saying there's not. But if you want to preserve your career, save it. Save it for when you get somewhere where it matters. Like for me, I never go to the top rope at all. I've never in my life been to the top rope except for training drills and stuff. Like when they would set all four of us on the corners and have a guy run the ropes. That was the only time I've ever been to the top rope. But I will go the second rope if need be. But I'm saving that top rope for when it really matters. For when I have to pull something out of my ass to get the victory and to get people to know who I am. And you have to preserve yourself on the indies. You can't go out there and destroy your body and expect to have any kind of career later on. So that's kind of my take on that. Like I really do appreciate what they do because it makes my job a hell of a lot easier. Because if they do it, then I don't have to do it. So, but yeah.
All right. I want to ask a question here, kind of because I know we're going to wrap up here. What I wanted to know from you, and Braddock, I appreciate you being on the show. But hold on, I got something here. I got a question for you in this regard of, we talk about saving yourself, you talk about all this. My question then is, with the business the way it is, you talk about kind of bringing back some, kind of the competition days. What do you feel are like the missing ingredients to wrestling? You know how, back in the day there were, you had some that were just able to do the promos, some that were just able to wrestle, some were able to amaze you with just taking the falls the way they did. Like you got guys like Mick Foley. But, what do you feel like is missing now in these days? Do you feel like we become more politically correct and the fan base is not as in tune as it used to be, or what do you feel about it?
Well, repeat the question one more time just so I can understand it a little bit better. Give me a time to think on it.
All right. Basically, in the business, everybody has a place in the business. In the old days, you had you guys that were able to be the talkers. You talk to some fans, they say wrestling back in the day was better than it is now. I'm asking, what's the missing element? What was the missing piece? Is it, is it just as easy as competition? Is it as easy as not being able to step up the game like it used to be?
Well, and one big thing too that's wrong with wrestling that I feel like is that some of the guys that were wrestling have never been in the real friggin' fight. Like I was talking to some of the guys that were training, and I was like, "Have you okay?" I did a roll off with a guy, and he got up all like, "Oh," and I was like, "What are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Like, in a fight, are you gonna get up just like that?" And he said, "I've never been in a fight." And I was like, "Jesus Christ,
oh my God.
I'm out of here." I got.
Oh my God.
I mean, just because, like, but what's missing from it, from wrestling today, and people can get mad at me for saying it, but it's balls. A lot of guys don't have the balls to be a professional wrestler, but they want to be a professional wrestler. I am a professional wrestler. I am busting my ass to get to the next level, and I will not settle until my body gives up or until I'm dead and gone. Like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna be. Back then, people were seen as born to be professional wrestlers, not just they became a professional wrestler. And I honestly feel that I was born to be a professional wrestler. Everything about the business I love. From like I said, the late night shenanigans to freaking burning the roads up to wrestling in front of however many people are in front of. I mean, if there was a crowd of 3 or 4 people, I would wrestle in front of them just because I love this so much. And but yeah, the biggest thing missing from it is balls, and guys just need to just go and pick a fight with someone. Just go to a bar, have a couple of beers, and then fight someone. Fight someone you don't even know. I'm telling you to do that if you're a professional wrestler and you've never been in a fight. Win, lose, or draw, I mean, it doesn't matter. You've been in a fight. You kind of know what to expect.
I hear you, man. CM, you got anything, bro?
I'm pretty empty for tonight, so.
All right. Well, look, guys, I appreciate it. I know we're about hitting up on the time. So let me ask you, Clyde, I appreciate you spending the time. What's the best way to get you booked? How people can find you, where to go to, and what places you like to go?
Oh, well, I have boots and will travel, so if the price is right, I will go. You can hit me up on Facebook, and that's Clyde Braddock. There's only one, and he is awesome. You can hit me up on Twitter, and that's at @thegrind_design. The T, the G, and the D is capitalized. Or you can hit me up on my Gmail account. That's for bookings and other things. If you're just a fan, like my Facebook page and all that stuff, do all that. You can do it.
No, I was gonna say emails. Those are private. We try to keep it that way, people.
Yeah. Yeah, emails. You can hit me up at clyderhands@gmail.com. That's for all booking and anything else of that nature. If you send me spam, I will delete it or eat it. One of the two. I like spam. It's a delicacy.
Hey,
it's a delicacy. And
I see what you did there.
I tell you what, it's spam with the spam with bacon flavor, awesome. And the teriyaki one's pretty darn good too.
Oh.
That's just a little C-double true.
Yeah, man. It's yeah. But yeah, you can hit me up on all those. Like I said, if you're a fan, hit me up on Facebook and Twitter. But if you're wanting to talk about business, you can hit me up on my Gmail account, and I will give you all my contact info, phone number, and such, and we can talk.
All right. Well, definitely, guys, check them out. We're going to be posting this on the webpage, allwrestlingtalknation.webs.com. Yeah, it's Kyle Braddock, and I appreciate you again, dude, for being on the show. Thank you so much. Not Kyle, it's Clyde Braddock. I swear I'm bad with names these days. But like I said, y'all check him out, man. He's really good. One of the up-and-coming guys. And I'm going to tell you, Clyde, anytime you want to, please come back. We'll have your name memorized to my arm and tattooed it to my forehead if need be, but I will have it done. But either way, man, I do appreciate you being part of the show.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And anytime, guys. Anytime. And I'll shoot you an email and let you know when I'm able to come on and stuff, because I love doing radio. Radio is kind of a lost art nowadays. People are doing podcasts and stuff, and I enjoy that. So,
well, our goal is
guys.
Well, let's know.
Let's go FM.
Our goal is to do an FM show, and we're talking with a couple of radio stations. So, if that happens, we'll definitely keep in touch with you, because that would be a really good moment. That's what we're trying to do, is just get the word out about indie wrestling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I do appreciate that. It's guys like y'all that, help me get my name out there. So I really appreciate it. And like I said, anytime y'all want me on, I'll come on.
Awesome,
Sounds
man.
good.
And just so you know, man.
Let me can I plug one thing? Real quick?
Yeah, go ahead and plug. We're like a freaking power surge protector. We'll plug anything. Go ahead.
Okay. If you want to, later on tonight, it'll be 10 o'clock Eastern time. You'll get to see a little bit more rasher side of the Grand Design. I'll be on the To Be Determined show is part of Beyond Ringside, and that's on beyondringside.com. And if you really you can come by, listen to our podcast, and if you like it, then you can come and listen every week. I'm on every week from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. So.
All right, man. I appreciate that. And like I said, guys, you want to check them out. Beyond the Ring, that's where it's to find it is Beyond the Ring.
Beyond Ringside.
Beyond Ringside. So check that out, guys. Hear them out.
And it's the To Be Determined show. It's on every Wednesday night at 10 o'clock Eastern time.
Awesome. Well, guys, this is about the end. I'm going to do some plugs real quick. Tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock, Rob Killjoy is going to be joining us. You'll see it live here at Ustream, and we'll be posting it up as soon as it's done. But want to also thank the guys coming up. Got a lot of shows out there. Definitely want to keep posted. Go to the All Wrestling Talk Nation group. You're going to see a lot of people. They're posting their pictures of wrestling shows they're working. Check them out. I try to get the promoters, bookers. I try to get everyone around that nation in that group. So if you guys are interested in trying to talk to some folks, that's how we can do some networking. Try to get it out there for all of us. Also, next week, it will be the first week of June, folks, and we got Stan the Man Stylezz and Cameron Cade on the 2nd and 3rd, and I know it's going to be crazy, but guys, just get ready. It's going to be fun. Me and CM, we're buckling down. We know it's going to be a battle with those two. So y'all check us out. Just keep coming out. Check out my boy Paul Jaser and his group, Kayfabe Concepts, doing some great work with merchandise. Also, my boy Mr. K Destroy Kayfabe himself, CM Mother Selfie Stylezz, in the house, and I want to thank you, buddy, for being a part of my show. So, what we got planned for Destroy Kayfabe, man?
Well, to get hold of us, you can find us on Twitter at Destroy_Kayfabe. You can also find us at Facebook.com/Destroying Kayfabe. We got a lot of stuff coming up here with reviews. We're working on getting some bookings over there as well. Things have been pretty shaky to start out with, but our Man in Black more than likely go ahead and reach out to certain talent and make. We're actually going to expand our network within the next month or so. So looking forward to see how that comes out. But just look forward to finding us on Ustream as well. Ustream.tv/channel/destroy-kayfabe.
Man, we got to figure out how to plug these things without saying / hashtag /B/. I mean, it gets really slashy. I don't know about y'all. It really does for me. So anyway, definitely want to check us out. Destroy Kayfabe Tuesdays when they do the Raw reviews. You definitely want to see my boy CM Stylezz. I'll probably be joining him on these now. I'm going to be clearing my Tuesdays up so we could dedicate those for them. And then on our interviews, CM Stylezz is always open to be a part of the show. So we like the partnership and we work well together. So, guys, I appreciate y'all. We're going to go ahead and end this broadcast. Thank you so much. I'm C-Double. And, guys, tip your waitresses and your hookers the same. God bless.